Hello, rock stars. Welcome to In the Pit. I'm your host, Rick. And this week, I'm exciting. This band that I'm having on today, I actually got to see at Legacy Hall. These guys rock. If you're a Bon Jovi fan, stick around for this one because we've got the guys from Blaze of Glory on. Trae, John, How are you guys? You're like
healing.
Rick, don't
kind
be
of
so
recovering
loud.
from that show, actually.
Okay, so let's be honest. Off screen, we were talking about Trae was out with New Zealanders last night.
Yeah, three Kiwis last night, and we ended up having a wonderful, wonderful conversation. It's amazing, really, to find out that other people from other places in the entire continent, world, feel the same way as we do about politics.
Oh God,
you get into politics when you're a bar, and it's so crazy. And we closed the bar down and then drove them home to where they were staying.
Well, you didn't tell me that. Wait, hold on. You met the guys, you partied till 3 in the morning, and then you're like, you know what? We feel so guilty you had to hang out with us. We'll take you home.
I mean, it was that or Uber, and I'm a little cheaper than Uber, so a little.
Depends on how much alcohol they bought you. You might have not been cheaper.
Actually, you know what? I bought them beers. That's all messed up, isn't it?
Just saying. They should have paid you.
Okay, next time I've learned a lesson. Thank you, Rick.
And John gets on. He's like, oh, yeah, we had a little soiree at our house. My wife had all the girls over. I'm like, did I not get the memo that we were all supposed to have parties last night?
What did you do last night, Richie?
Well, this guy, Roy Lee Nelson, I know, but I had, we had some of my wife had girlfriends over here, so a little pool party.
Girlfriends?
At the house, yeah. So,
do tell.
So
not much to tell. Lots of liquor and I smoked some ribs and brisket outside.
Oh,
so, you know.
Roy, when you said smoke some, I was like, okay, where are we going with this?
Roy, I asked you on camera if you guys had gone to see the recent Bon Jovi because I'm going to dive into it because I'm just kind of curious. You guys have been following obviously Bon Jovi forever. Now, otherwise you wouldn't be doing the experience of Bon Jovi. And you said you didn't catch him this time around. It had been a couple years. Is it tough being in? And I'm asking this question because everybody asks me because I do Billy Idol, I do Green Day. Is it tough being in the band and then like, okay, do I want to go see the actual artist so I can take tips? Or you're like, I've heard the music so much that sometimes you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm burnt out. Do you guys ever get that way? Or you're like, no, we're diehard, love it.
For me, no, because I've been asked that same sort of question. One of those is have you ever seen, Bon Jovi? Of course, yeah, I've seen him, a few times. And as far as do we ever get tired of playing this stuff, that's kind of why you get into doing a tribute from my perspective anyway, is because you like the band, you like doing the songs. And even though we mostly play the same songs, I mean, there's certain songs you just have to do every show. You can't leave Alive without playing, Wanted Dead or Alive or Living on a Prayer, or those the songs that everyone knows. So, and even though it's the same songs in a lot of cases, every show is still different. It's a different crowd, and there's a whole different reaction that you get each time.
And do you look at the whole stage setup? I mean, I know I do every show. It doesn't matter if it's a band I'm tributing or not, if it's the actual artist or a tribute artist. Do you look at the whole stage setup, like? What kind of theatrics are they putting on? Lighting, costumes, set list? I mean, do you guys take that kind of detail? You kind of, we're going to wing it.
I think we kind of do both, honestly, because we've been doing it for 15 years now. And, when Roy and I started out, we knew the path we needed to take with the band to do an honest tribute band. As you know, as you're saying, Rick, you do some as well. Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing the show, you're not doing it service. Mm-hmm. You don't call yourself a tribute band.
Yep.
They call you a cover band. And I still to this day will correct people, not intentionally. It's not, I don't mean it in a bad way, but this, oh, you're in that Bon Jovi cover band. I'm like, no, I'm in a Bon Jovi tribute band. But
different.
Thank you.
Different.
Yeah. and people act like I scolded them even still, and I'm not. I'm just, it's a huge difference because you do take in your entire surroundings. You look at the stage. You look at how much room you have to move in. You look at where's Roy going to be? Where's Dan going to be? The keyboard and drummer, I don't care. They're going to be back there somewhere behind me. They're not in my way. But we've got to move on the stage. You've got to keep the stage full.
Yes.
You've got to put on a big enough show, which is why I did whatever I did to my right shoulder at Legacy that night, Rick, that you saw us there. That when it was sold out with 3 stories and who knows how many people there. But we've encountered those situations a lot. I'm older now, granted. So apparently we don't deal as well when we're older. I don't know what the hell that's about. But
wait, you're just a singer. You got to carry a scarf. I'm a drummer.
A scarf? Sir, I am not Aerosmith. Come on.
And a mic stand. I'm sorry.
Right. And walk around and try not to kill my fellow musicians on stage. Roy, would you say that's kind of how you take in a setting? I mean, I know you're much more of a sound guy, so Roy comes at it, I think, differently than I do, but it works out so beautifully because I'm the show guy. This is my feeling. We've never talked about this. I don't know, but I'm the show guy. We got to put on a show. We're putting on a concert. We're putting on basically a musical, if you will, because it's not us there on stage at any point. It's the old Bon Jovi, not, of course, what you just saw April 28th at American Airlines Center. God rest their soul.
I didn't get to go. My wife got to go.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I've heard too much from people and are like, dude, it should have been you up there singing and not I.
Yeah, we're being nice. I'm going to say
anyway,
from this
we're
one,
not here to bring people down. Yeah. But Roy, how do you take that situation in when we get on stage?
Well, this is why, coming off of what you were saying there, this is why I think Trae and I work together so well and always have from the beginning. Is I do my best when I'm playing off of somebody else, and with Trae, he's the perfect front man for me to play off of. I am more of a visual performer when I have the ability to interact with Trae.
Yes.
And the way I look at it is sort of similar. I mean, you're kind of limited in what you can do with stage sets anyway, as a tribute act, and you're playing on different stages.
Yeah.
So you have to adapt what you're doing to that stage.
Right. Yeah.
And so we do as much with ourselves as possible, because we're not doing the big, massive stage pieces and all that kind of stuff, and changing them around each time like the original band would do.
But one of the things that I will tell you that I loved is you got the crowd feeding into it. The crowd was definitely interactive. And that's a huge part of, instead of just putting on a show and come watch us and shut the hell up and sit in your seat, the crowd was in it. I mean, they were at a Bon Jovi show.
And that's what we want.
Exactly.
That's what.
No, you guys were incredible.
It's all about, Rick.
Now, who came? Whose idea was it? Was it like you guys were sitting down drinking with some Aussies, and you're like, "Hey, let's put a tribute together"? Or who came up with it?
We
the band.
Yeah, we had the same idea at the same time and didn't know it until we met up. I posted an ad online back in the Craigslist back page days,
2007.
Wait,
so
those ads weren't normally for bands.
Right. Maybe that's why I was looking in the wrong place. And how did I find Trae there? Anyway,
like 50 chicks reached out to you, right? And then one guy, you're like, "You're a rock star."
Well, I've been a guitar player for a long time, and so. But I've also been the lead vocalist in some different bands, and I had been a sideman for a long time, and I got the idea of doing a Bon Jovi thing, and I thought, well, maybe I'd like to step out front and sing for a change. And so I put out an ad. I was looking for other musicians to do a Bon Jovi, tribute cover type thing. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go full tribute, but and then I get an email from the guys some guys that Trae had hooked up with. Said, "Hey, we're putting together a Bon Jovi tribute, and we need a Richie." And I thought, well, geez, I'm trying to get out of this sideman thing, but if these guys are any good, I'll be their Richie because Richie was actually, as it turns out, as a vocalist and as a guitar player, one of my big influences. So, when Richie released his first solo record, I was in line to get it because I was like, I got to hear this. Because when I first heard that performance of them doing "Wanted Dead or Alive" at the MTV Music Awards back in like 88, 89, that acoustic performance that launched the whole Unplugged series, I heard Richie sing. I was like, oh my God, this guy can sing. I don't know which one of them is better, so it just worked out for me that I was able to do this. And then when I went and auditioned for them, they were so good that I was like, okay. And Trae and our voices work together so well that I said, I have to be in this band,
What's funny, you say audition. Whenever I go out, I've never auditioned.
Yes.
I'm auditioning you more than you're auditioning me as a drummer. I'm like, are you good enough to be in front of me? And but I mean, and we talked about it off camera a little bit. You guys, the Richie and John duo, which it very much is very much like the Billy and Steve Stevens of Billy Idol. That it's one of those iconic team ups that you just kind of go, they really have a career because of each other. Yeah. And that's it. My humble opinion. Yeah. The honest truth is the reason you had this huge success is because the magic was there with the combination. So you guys on stage together. Wow. It's potent. You're a great match.
We had auditioned. Oh, I mean, I will say the number was small, but the talent was large because the guys that we auditioned are guys that you see in other tribute bands in the Dallas area anyway, to this day. Yeah. And so there was huge talent. So when Roy auditioned, our voices just worked so beautifully together. And like I said, I'd only had that once in my life. And it's so amazing because seriously, when I'm on stage, and we've just added a new, I say just, but we've recently added a new bass player who has an amazing vocal range and sings so beautifully.
Who did you add on bass?
We had Dan Pockris, who has just joined from Roy's other band, or a couple of, I don't know, Roy, how many bands he's in with you, but he and I knew each other way back in the day when we were both doing original stuff. And I was in the Americanos. He was in Soulville. I should have been able to think of it right now. Soulville, yes, Soulville. And there were so many great bands around that time. But yes, but I mean, it brings such a level. We have vocalists in the band, so sitting up there when we're doing "Keep the Faith," sometimes I get chills not from the song, not from what's going on necessarily on the stage or in the audience, even though the audience is normally well into it. It's hearing that 4-part harmony in my ears, and I love that so much. And the audience, I don't know if they're so used to guys using tracks these days, which are pre-recorded stuff that you play along with the click track and stuff. We don't do any of that. We never will. Have never had. Well, we did the first year, but that's because we didn't have a keyboardist. But we don't do tracks. Yeah. And so everything you hear live is all us, and whatever screw ups we have, that's us as well. So
okay, but you're tugging at my heart now, fun. Trae. You're tugging at my heart now because I am a monster advocate of produce it on stage. I'm not a track guy. If I'm going to be in a band, to date I have not had to bring in tracks. I'm like, we will organically produce it to the best of our ability. Yes. And it takes real musicianship. And I will take the great with the bad. And there are screw ups. I'll live with that all day long.
And we have bad. Every show we have bad. Oh, I hear it. I'm sure Roy hears it. The rest of the band hears it. But at the same time, you're there to put on a show. You're there to put on a concert. And when mistakes happen, unless the drummer falls off the friggin' drum riser, you don't acknowledge it. You keep on going because the audience doesn't want to see that. They're not there for that.
Oh, bull. If your drummer falls off the riser, that's awesome.
If he fell off the riser, we would all laugh. I guarantee you, yes.
So you guys, we can get along fine because I'm the kind of friend that if you fall down, Are you bleeding? No. I'm gonna laugh at you. Like that's the friend I am.
Okay, we can be friends.
But no, I mean, no, I admire that in bands that are willing to like truly stick it out there and like, hey, we'll take it all, but we're gonna give it to you. And with you guys again, and I don't think folks realize Bon Jovi, the harmonies are huge. There is wicked talent in Bon Jovi when it comes to harmonies. And if it's not there, you can play the music, great. But if you don't have the harmonies, it's not the same. I mean, it would be thin. It would be lacking. So, and Roy, I'm sure a lot of that again goes on you. And you said you wanted to be in the spotlight, but you're like, I'm okay being a sidekick. Richie is not a sidekick as much. I mean, that he's as much out.
He's not a sidekick.
Yeah, not at all. You're not a
He's
Robin.
the king of swing, man. No.
But I mean, you get a lot of spotlight moments doing Richie. I mean, you gotta say, hey, I'm up to the challenge. Has to be. Do you spend do you spend a lot of time just studying maybe nuances of Richie?
I did that years and years ago, not in any sense of wanting to do a tribute or anything like that, but just as I was learning as a guitar player and as a singer, that was just the voice that I gravitated to. And so I always liked Richie's, the not just the power and the tone of his voice, but the soul behind it as well, and especially on that solo record of his, Stranger in This Town. The delivery on the whole thing, plus it makes all the stuff on the Bon Jovi records make sense. Yeah. All of his call and response parts make sense when you hear him solo. Yeah. And that was just it for me. So there's years of study, but just as going through my whole lifelong learning process, it was just a natural part of doing what I do.
Now, drums, and being a drummer, I'm sorry, heartbeat of the band, I am always so very judgmental of every drummer out there. Like,
why are we talking to him, Roy? I didn't know he was a drummer. Why are we on this conversation with a drummer?
Because we are your heartbeat. Rick, we are the one that make you go forward. But you guys, I mean, Tico is not an easy job to just jump in and just this piece of cake. No. When you guys picked out your Tico, I mean, was that a huge selection process, or did you like, we'll take the first stick that comes down the line?
Oh, so the first Tico we had, which I still love, Kenny Shumo. He's a good Italian boy from New York, from Staten Island, the island over there, and he had some life issues he had to deal with. Ends up, we're playing in the Chicago House of Blues with Back in Black, the AC/DC tribute. They're a band, I think, from Australia. And I mean, Kenny knows everything. He literally knows everything. And so he ended up sound checking, I think, for them. I don't know if that was the gig or not, but we played. Yeah,
their drummer was late, but for the show, and
he was late.
Did sound check for him and played a couple of songs with him. He had never played with him before, and they went through the song start finish. He ended them, just choked off the ending of the songs, just like they do it. He's great at watching visual cues. So, so about the time we gave him a little bit of time off to deal with some stuff he had going on. Back in Black needed somebody to fill in, so he went in with him on a fill-in basis. He is now their drummer.
Oh, and trust me, I know.
and so we brought in our guy Wayne Stokely, who we have now.
And I didn't know that you guys had that pedigree, because Ken
who is also a guy that. Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, I was just going to say, I didn't realize you had that pedigree that Ken had started out with. Ken is phenomenal. I mean, I love when Basket Cases opened up for Back in Black. Getting to share the stage with him as a drummer. Wow, that is a great resume to say he was with us in the beginning, because he's a powerhouse. Absolute.
And
he is a sweetheart of a guy too.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, never anything but a big hug. Those Italian whisker kisses on the cheeks, it's just, oh, it's good.
And it goes perfect
That
with that.
scratches. I love you, Kenny.
And he's got that perfect Staten Island emphysema voice,
Hey,
that
how you doing?
If
I mean, he's like right out of Central Casting,
Good to see you.
He's in the top 3. If I wasn't a drummer, if I had to find a drummer to replace me, he's in the top 3. I just a solid professional. And he's an inspiration to watch. So I didn't know that about you guys. I'm just like, wow.
You would think it doesn't get any better until it does. And this guy, our old bass player,
Dave Harvey?
suggested this guy.
Yeah.
Never saw life. And he suggested he could audition. I was thinking this, like listening to everything. I hear way too much. But the guy's spot on everything we played. And turns out the dude can play song at the drop of a hat.
Oh, that's awesome.
We hired him. I think Roy was it that day? Or did he I think we come back for it.
I mean, we
he was the most amazing keyboardist in the world. A second, I don't know why. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Shutting up.
We keep losing you there. Our old bass player, Dave, had brought in
AT&T.
Somebody. We were going to do the world's greatest tribute band show in LA.
Yep.
And so in the middle of all this transition, our old bass player said, "Hey, I know a drummer who can probably fill the bill for us." He brings in our current guy, Wayne Stokely, who's also played for Infestation and stuff and he's touring with Lillian Axe right now. So
Wayne is another great drummer. Like that's what I'm getting at. Your pedigree with percussionists, with your heartbeat is phenomenal, because Wayne's another great one. Like I'm jealous. I should actually take some lessons or something.
And Wayne,
you're probably going to be our next. You're going to be our next.
But we've gotten really lucky with having really good musicians in the band, particularly with drummers, because when Wayne was stricken with MS a couple of years ago and was kind of taken out for about a year, John from Escape came and played with us for our gig for that year, and another really good drummer.
Amazing band.
He was able to fill in some more vocals for us, during that time. Great. So.
You guys made a comment earlier, and I've seen this consistent.
We didn't do it at the time, Rick.
You made this comment. Consistent across the spectrum. You guys were original artists that dove into the tribute scene, and most of us are that way. We didn't just get into doing tributes. We all started out as originals because let's face it, we all wanted to be rock stars.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Did you find it difficult at all, or is it more difficult doing the tribute thing because you have to you're not writing it, you're emulating somebody else. So you have to climb inside their brain and figure it out?
To me, no.
Really?
For me,
I will say.
Go ahead.
It's okay. He's going to pause for a minute. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Well, I was just going to say, for me, I
go ahead, Roy. Apparently, my phone is not right now.
I grew up listening to top 40 and pop radio and stuff like that, and so it was a natural gravitation from me, even though I was doing original music for quite some time. Once about the late 90s, early 2000s hit, it was an easy transition for me to get into playing in top 40 cover bands and things like that, because it's kind of my heart was just always in top 40.
Yeah.
Anything that's hook driven, I just love. So and this just being somebody who grew up loving Bon Jovi and particularly Richie, this was just a natural. Just one day I just said, what the hell? What if I do this? And
that is
awesome. Just worked out.
My first time seeing Bon Jovi, 7,800 Fahrenheit tour, opening up for Rat Out of the Cellar. How about you guys? First time seeing Bon Jovi?
Oh, wow.
The Crush tour. I had never seen him live until my dad and stepmom took me and my sister to see Bon Jovi on the Crush tour at Starplex.
Wow. So you guys missed the early days.
I did.
I will tell you, She's a Little Runaway.
Yeah.
Seeing that, that was the one that obviously hooked me into being a Bon Jovi fan. I was like, holy cow, I like these guys. And I was there for Rat, I'll be honest. They happened to be an opener that we had to sit through. But I love that song.
It wasn't She Don't Know Me?
Nope. Nope. She's a Little Runaway. And nope. You're going to laugh at it. It was the keyboard parts. Dun, 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 dun. And I was like, dude, that's kind of hooky.
Okay. So let me take us back. If I'm still connected here, and I don't know,
we're not sure anymore.
Can you hear me? I know. So anyway, our keyboardist literally is a genius when it comes to whatever technology stuff. Obviously, I'm not. So the sounds, that noise he makes, he does it really good. He processes every one of them. I'm not saying the right words, but anyway, you get the gist. He makes each one of his sound exactly it does on the record. And that's why every night I'm up with and I feel like I'm in an amazing karaoke bar because I'm putting on a show, but it's to the exactly perfect music. Roy has the talk box, whatever they're called. We bought him for Christmas one year when he remembers to bring it. The drums are spot on. The bassist now.
Oh my God. So can I be honest? Every time you stop, you freeze. All I see is her on your shirt.
Yeah, we just see the top three, the first three letters there.
See, Trae's like, damn it. Oh no, don't change it. So I guess he's gone. I'm going to miss her. I'm sorry, the whole interview. I know it says here, but all I saw was her. I'm like,
I know, yeah.
Hi, her. But no, as he was saying, it's just for you guys, like on the technical side of it, do you guys, and I'm kind of curious, do you guys have a lot of those, and this is probably geared more towards you, Roy, in practice, do you have some guys like drummers that are like, as long as the beats are solid, where everything is good, and you're like, I want the sound, like the keyboards, the guy's incredible, he's got the sounds, guitars need to be there. Is that kind of, do you take that role?
No, because everybody brings it. It's just all there. I mean, when we all get out there, we approach it with like, no, we're going to do this right, and so we don't have to coax anything out of each other either. That was the neat thing about when we brought Wayne in to play drums for us in that first session where we got together at the rehearsal space. We just kind of jammed on a couple of things. Like I just started doing like the riff from In These Arms, and Wayne just starts playing it. We didn't even have it in the set at the time. We hadn't played it in a couple of years, and Wayne just starts playing it. And then at a certain point, he stops and he goes, "That's not where that goes." And I messed something up, and he said, "No, that's not the part you're supposed to be playing." And I went, "You know what? You're right."
So what people don't realize as drummers, we don't just have to know all our parts because we chew off so much. I got to know the bass. I got to know the guitars. I got to know keys. I got to know vocals. I have to know everybody's parts. So when it doesn't sound right, we as drummers, even though we can count it for you, we'll count the whole song. Yeah. We're going to hear stuff that's off and like, hold on. And I've had my bandmates go, "You're just a drummer." And then they go and listen. They're like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." Been times I've been wrong too. Okay. Hands in the air. I've been wrong as well. But Wayne is he's another one that is an absolute dream to watch and just total professional, comes to the table and makes you elevates your game to another level. And I will tell you, you guys, I didn't realize how much pedigree you have. You guys are phenomenal. I've said it a couple of times. You guys, you see the amount of professionals, you see the chemistry on stage, and that had to be a big factor when you said we're going to do this. There's got to be chemistry. Like we've got to mesh. We got to have fun up here.
For me, it was instantaneous. I mean, we got there, and that, like I said earlier, it was. When I was going to it, I said, if these guys are any good, I'll be happy to do it. And then when I left, I said, I have to be in this band. And
that is awesome.
Went back for my second audition, and there's another guy or two that were ahead of me that were back for their second. And I told Trae, I said, hey, even if you guys don't pick me, I'll do your website, whatever you want done, because I like what's going on here.
Nice.
And he said, hey, just me and you, I don't think you have anything to worry about. And so you're
going to get to do the website.
That's right. So the next day, I get a message from them, and they said, yeah, you're our guy. So
nice.
And just from the first moment, I've enjoyed it the whole time.
There are a lot of bands in the scene that I aspire, that I look up to, Back in Black, y'all, Infinite Journey, the Crueligans. There's a number of big acts, that I look up to. And I will tell you, watching your performance, watching the professionalism, watching the whole presentation, man, you guys are one that are definitely on my list of I'm chasing you, because I like what you're putting out there as a tribute. My band, Basket Case, we are a celebration of Green Day. And I think that for me, it's, again, we're celebrating the music of a band. It's not us, but if we could give that experience, which is what you guys do, and the top bands in the scene are doing, you give that experience to the audience. They're, oh my God, he's back.
and Rick, let me add something to that, if I could.
Absolutely.
As far as how we all work together and our chemistry together. So our first year that we had trouble finding a keyboard player, and we put ads out, and we weren't real obvious about what we were putting together, because we wanted whoever that person was, we wanted them to be able to put two and two together and know what they were going to be doing. And we got several responses from keyboard players who were, and this is not a knock against keyboard players generally, but just in a certain cover band climate, you have certain types of players who like to be more of a utility person. And so we got responses from keyboard players that were like, look, those Bon Jovi parts, they're not hard. I'll tell you what, I'll do it. I'm not going to rehearse. I'll show up 15 minutes before the gig. I'll collect my paycheck, and I'll be gone 15 minutes after it's over. And okay, you're not our guy. And so I went ahead and just programmed the keyboard parts, and we ran it through Cakewalk off of Trae's laptop through my keyboard. And a year later, we get a message from this guy who says, hey, I moved here from Canada a few years ago. I used to play some Bon Jovi in a cover band, and I like their stuff, and I'd like to come and check you guys out. He came to a gig that week. He's been our keyboard player ever since, and he doesn't want to do anything else. He filled in with the Aerosmith tribute one time at a gig in California. That's the only time he's played with anybody else the whole time he's been with us, and he doesn't want to do anything else.
And that is a testament to a team player that he's like, I'm good with my parts. I know who I am. I know what my role is. And I'm happy. And you don't have to cram the box full of stuff to make it full. You can put in your small parts and fill that box just as well. In fact, sometimes less is more. So
that's absolutely the funny thing about this band is there's not one single man that's not a virtuoso, including even is he over here? There it is, Roy Lee.
Just think opposite.
I know, it's so screwy. Okay, I'm working.
Roy,
but man, right. Rick, you're over there now.
Yeah, that's me.
Which is pointing to my right, which is on this side, which is literally on this side. Anyway, the guys in this band, I mean, you have to, and I think people overlook this when they think about Bon Jovi, because it's a pop band. It's a pop rock band. It's whatever. It's not a hard rock band, and it's not it's not
it's not a heavy metal band.
It's not grind your nose to the.
Nope.
It's not like
it appeals to the masses.
Exactly.
and that's a big
and the
thing.
way it does that is that every man is an amazing musician and or singer. Like I said, we have 4 amazing vocalists in this band, but it's not me
Including
singing
her.
like me. It's not her singing like, it's not Roy necessarily singing like Roy, but it does.
Yeah.
But when we took on these personas, honestly, Rick, it was taking on ourselves and just shaping them, I think, a little bit differently. I think Roy would agree with that, because Roy is every bit the king of swing. But when I became John, for whatever you say, it's not that he was out of my purview of who I am as an entertainer. It's just different things he did.
Yeah.
He holds Mike with the right hand. He does most of his work with his left hand, which is why I don't know why I've thrown out my right rotator cuff at the show at Legacy that you made me do, Rick.
I'm just that kind of guy.
It's just, yeah. And it's just those simple things that we do, but you always do it in a mindset. Of course, we're playing, fortunately, and thank God and whatever, we're playing in larger arenas, larger venues. So you're forced to, as Jenny Lane used to say, you've got to put on a big show.
Yep.
You've got to be big.
Absolutely.
Play to the back of the room. Yeah.
You have to play to the back of the room. You have to have eye contact with the audience. You look over here for 10 minutes, or 10, not 10 minutes, my God, that would kill me. 10 seconds. Everyone in this, 25 square foot area thinks you're looking at them.
That's
great,
the key.
because you might be right, but you involve the audience in the show. And that's what we've been so fortunate to have, is guys that get it, and guys that know how to put on not a gig, not a concert, not a show, but a concert. And when we do it, it doesn't matter if 5 of you, 50 of you show up, 5,000 of you show up, 15,000, 1,500, 15,000, whatever the hell. I mean, it's the same show. Has to be every time, because that's why it's big.
That's the key to it. And that's what I always tell my guys. Always, when you step on stage, my routine is the same, whether I'm playing in front of 20 people or 20,000. I have the same routine. It does not matter, because you should be giving the same effort 100% of the time. Is it easier to play in front of 20,000 people? Absolutely. But when you're playing in front of 20, it doesn't matter. You still give them that full tilt. And you're right. You always play to the back of the room, because, if that person at the back feels like, oh my God, I think they were looking at me, then it was personal, and they're going to come back time and time again and have a great time. You know what I mean?
Those that come back, Arnett, don't look ill their next show. Don't look forward. It'll be, look at these people, because they may or may not come back, depending on how we communicate with them via not talking to them, but eye service. It's you make contact. You have that emotional contact, because people feel it. We as musicians, like very that lives thinking, because boy, did you lose me again?
You're kind of coming in pieces.
If you could hear what we're hearing,
it sounds like you're doing a do re mi.
Read between the lines.
Roy, I think you just said.
Do you guys see this right here? This is.
I think we lost
myself. I don't know why. This one sucks. It has. Oh my God.
Well,
I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
I will save you. I will save you. I'm sorry, because we're running out of time, but I will tell you guys, please keep up the intensity. And I'm going to ask a question. Would you guys come do this again, and maybe even do it in person where her doesn't have issues?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Her's not answering.
There's a mask.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys. I would love to have you guys back and do this again. In fact, I would one up is I'd love to actually come out to a gig, maybe bring my whole setup and do an interview before you go on.
Oh,
that would be an incredible, you know, just come out. So I'll definitely be begging you guys. Yeah,
come out to Grandscape.
That's
hey,
coming
man,
up.
come
Actually, I got a gig that night.
Yeah,
June 4th. I got a gig that night.
What? There are other bands. There are other bands that play.
I know it's a tough concept for a singer
I'm sorry.
I'll come
see you. I'll come see you.
No, you got it. Grandscape. That's a great venue. Are you kidding me? No, guys, thank you so much for coming out and being my guest. You will do it again?
Oh yeah. I'll do it. Absolutely.
I am so stoked that you guys got to make it. And for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, thank you so much. You can catch us not just on Facebook. We are also on iHeart. We are also on Spotify. We've got Instagram. We've got Twitter. We've got a Roku channel. We've got an Amazon Fire channel. You can catch us on YouTube. Like, if you need therapy, you could catch us anywhere and then call your therapist and be like, this guy's all screwed up, which it's okay. We're all a little bit screwy. Thank you guys for hanging out. We look forward to coming out and catching a show soon. If you haven't seen them, go see them. You will not be disappointed. So this has been Roy and somewhat Trae. Somewhat. The guys from Blaze and Glory. And thank you guys again for being my guest. And we will catch you somewhere in the pit.